Hey, what's up guys? Today we're going to be checking out the Razer Ornata V3 keyboard. This is going to be my first impressions video and I'll have a full review coming out in the near future. So that being said, let's go ahead and unbox this thing. So firstly, you can see the packaging is Razer's typical green and black, and inside of the box what we're going to get is the keyboard, the wrist rest, along with an instruction manual, and it also has a sticker pack inside of it. Now, once we get everything out of the box, this is what it's gonna look like. You can see it has a very nice and low profile layout, and the wrist rest is gonna be attaching to it magnetically. The board is going to be made of plastic, so if I do a little bend test, it is going to have a little bit of creaking and wobbling, but that's not really a big deal since it sits on your desk most of the time. If we look on the back of the keyboard real quick, we can see that we do have some pretty interesting features that I am quite fond of. We're gonna have a cable router, which allows you to run the cable to the left or right or center of your keyboard. That way there's as little cable drag as possible. Then we're also gonna have grips on all of the corners, which is gonna help prevent the keyboard from sliding around. And then of course we're gonna have adjustable legs. I'm gonna go ahead and prop my adjustable legs up to the second level because it felt a little uncomfortable for me on the lowest level. I kind of need a little lift. So I go ahead and prop the wrist rest back on, and this feels much nicer to me, the typing experience. So now the keyboard is angled higher, and I think I prefer this over it being just kind of flat on the ground. Now the wrist rest itself is gonna be pretty interesting. It's gonna be covered in this rubberized texture, and it's gonna have this Razer logo in the middle, which is a nice little design aesthetic. And if we look on the tips of the keyboard, this part right here is gonna be magnetic, and it's gonna attach to the keyboard right here, which is also magnetic. And if we go ahead and put it on, you can see that now if I move the keyboard around, the wrist rest does follow it. So if you accidentally move your keyboard to the left or to the right, the wrist rest is always going to be attached. Always a huge plus, just one of those annoying things that you don't have to deal with. Now, something I like about this keyboard is that it does have some dedicated media control. Now, the media controls are going to be this little circle icon here, which is a multi-purpose media key. This is going to be a speaker mute and unmute button. This is going to be volume down and volume up. It's always nice to have these dedicated keys on your keyboard. That way you don't have to use your mouse all the time to configure something simple. So let's go ahead and plug this thing in using the cable that is non-detachable. The cable connection that you get is going to be this USB-A cable, so make sure you have that available on your computer. And voila, you can see that we have it plugged in and the RGB lights are glowing nice and vividly. And the reason they're glowing quite vividly is because of the white backplate on the back of the keyboard, and that white backplate really makes it so that the lights will pop off harder off of the keyboard. Now this keyboard is going to be using Razer's Mecha key switches, so you can see right there it's exposed, and basically this is going to be a hybrid between membrane and mechanical. It's not really going to be mechanical. Basically, there's like a little silver thing in there that kind of acts like a scissor switch or something. So it's going to give you that tactile feel without the actual switch. So it's a very cool hybrid solution by Razer, and I'm a big fan. And here's a quick typing test for y'all to hear what it actually sounds like. So you can see from that typing test that this keyboard isn't exactly the quietest keyboard, but it is definitely satisfying with that little mechanical feel to it. Now the keycaps are going to be a slim profile keycap. You can see looking at this that they're very slim, so your hands are going to lay very low on the keyboard. Now they are going to be a little bit more slippery than most keyboards that I've used in the past, so be mindful of that you have to be a little more precise with your accuracy with this key, because your fingers aren't really going to be caught with every keycap. You're definitely going to feel some sliding and slipping around. So the RGB lights on this keyboard are going to be really awesome and vivid out of the box. By default, the only customization you have without installing the software is going to be brightness up and down. In order to do that on the keyboard, you just hold the function key and go ahead and hold F11 for down and hold F12 for up. Or you can just tap it to get a little more precise with it. Now, without going into too much depth in the software, you can customize pretty much all of the keys on this keyboard. You just click a button and it shows all of your customization settings here. And then there's also going to be lighting settings over here where you can customize some of the modes, and you can do things like breathing and the keyboard will breathe. You can also do things like static and change the colors here. A few different options. I'll be releasing a dedicated software video that covers this keyboard more in depth in the near future here. So I'm going to spend a bit more time with this keyboard, and then I'm going to be releasing my full dedicated hardware review video in the near future, so stay tuned for that. Once the review video is live, I'm going to leave that video right here. And with that being said, thanks for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.